Hey guys, this is Josh. This is kind of a special episode of Every Damn Friday. Some of y'all talked about how much you liked Thoughts with Pappy while we were out west. So, in lieu of us having a show tomorrow here at the Randall Barn, I thought this would be a good time for us to do some Thoughts with Pappy about the barn and kind of talk to you about kind of how this all started and what we're doing. So this barn it's over 100 years old. It's turn of the century, so between 1910 1920. But Grandma and Granddad bought the farm when?
1961, and it was just a stock barn. It had a full loft, and as you can see now, there's only half a loft. But we'd fill this loft full of square baled alfalfa in the summertime. We put over 3,000 bales in there. And then these sheds on each side had feed troughs, and we'd feed cattle in the winter out of this barn. So a lot went on here.
Now I put my share of hay in here too. But you also had, there wasn't a floor, and now there's a floor in here.
Yeah.
And there's a gangway down the center. There was a corral on this side, and then over here was animal pens. Mm-hmm. And you had chickens, and you had, matter of fact, I found some old wooden eggs. Yeah. If you don't know what a wooden egg is for, you're trying to promote chickens to lay eggs, so you put a fake one in there.
It makes them go to that spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was stalls just all probably between every one of the big posts. There was a stall, and some of them we used to put calves and cows in when we separate them. Sometimes we put a cow in there with a bottle calf, let them work on it a little bit. And I did take one of those stalls, and I put chicken wire all the way around that thing, trying to keep anything from getting into them and keeping them from getting out. And I went up on the hill up here at Raymond and bought a dozen white leghorns from Cashman's. And that was my FFA project for a while.
There you go.
And
were you selling eggs at the end of the driveway?
No. We had enough kinfolk that said, if you got any eggs, you bring them over. And so we did. Meemaw Mitchell really liked them.
Now, speaking of Meemaw and grandparents, so Daddy Stiff bought the farm at auction, correct? And was like, because Grandma and Granddad were looking for a place.
Well, I'm not sure he bought it at an auction. I've heard so many different things, but what I heard was that the people was trying to sell it, and they weren't very patient. And Mom and Dad, like most of us, had to go make prior arrangements to make a purchase like that. You know, it was a large purchase back in 61.
$18,000.
And that's and it was 190 acres at that time.
Wow.
So, you know, that was a big deal for them.
That's $1.5 million now.
Oh, at least, at least. You know, it was an experience. I wouldn't trade my growing up here for nothing. My childhood had a lot to do with me wanting a farm so that you guys would have a place to grow up
and learn the hard work and all of that stuff by stretching barbed wire and hauling hay and feeding cattle and chopping ice and doing all the stuff.
Yeah, and working on equipment.
Yep,
we still do that, don't we?
We still got we've got two farmalls still. One that was Granddad's. The best. He restored over 20 of them.
Yeah.
But there was an EM that he was like, this is the one, this was perfect. I'll keep it.
That was his parade tractor.
And then you have an H that Grandma paid for the overhaul on.
Yeah, that was so cool. We was out there working on it, and Dad said, we need to overhaul that tractor. And I said, okay. And I didn't have a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out, but I said, we'll get her done. And here come Mom out. She said, I want to be a part of this. And I said, okay, what are you talking about? I thought maybe she's going to get in there and sand a little bit or something.
Roll her sleeves up.
Yeah, and she wasn't above that either.
No.
I mean, she would do anything. And she said, I've got some money here. I want to pay for the overhaul kit for your tractor. And I'd never get rid of that tractor as long as I live. And we'd probably come back and kick somebody if they.
Well, don't worry. We got to get them started first.
All right, don't take long.
I was talking about grandparents to say, a lot of people ask me, why do you call it the Randall Barn? So my great grandfather, Dad's grandfather, my grandma's dad, was named Mars Randall.
Right.
Mars Randall Stiff. His son, was Marsh Randall Jr., which we called him Ranny.
Well,
And
his son was born after mom.
his grandma was Doris Randall
Right.
because he was afraid he wasn't going to have a Morris Randall.
Right. So instead of waiting, he just went ahead and named her Doris Randall, which is about as close to Morris Randall as you can get.
And then I have a Jonah Randall.
Yep.
I have a first cousin who is an Alex Randall. So Randall, while it was nobody's first name, has been one of those family names that we kind of kept. And so
I think it's appropriate.
So the Randall Barn, and obviously it was Grandma and Granddad's farm.
Oh yeah.
We were lucky enough we bought the house here. It's been 14 years ago now.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's been that long.
I know. And then we were lucky enough to buy the farm at the beginning of 2019 from my aunts. And that's kind of when this whole process started. This barn was in disrepair. Again, it's over 100 years old. Granddad saved it by putting sheet metal on it, probably 35 years ago. Yeah. Otherwise it would have already been on the ground.
You ought to seen them putting it on.
Well, I remember it. The Amish came and put a new roof on it and put metal on the sides and built new side sheds.
Right.
And they would throw ropes over the top. This is if you've seen pictures of the Randall Barn, it's a round Quonset roof barn with no point on it. It's just round. And so they would throw a rope over one side and somebody would have it tied around their waist, leaning back while the other guy was climbing up I mean, it was like mountain climbing. And and they weren't scared of nothing, I guess.
No. My dad, y'all can't see it, but there's a ladder that goes up that wall, and it used to go to a hole in the roof. And when I was a kid, I call it a kid, I don't know what age I was.
Surely you were 12 or 13.
Yeah, at least. And he'd say, let's go up on the roof. We need to nail down some roofing. I go, oh, I dreaded that with a passion.
John Randall would say, hell no. Well, he wouldn't say that, but that's what he'd be thinking.
I wouldn't say that to my dad for nothing.
Well, Jonah better not either.
And but we'd go up there, and I'd get down there on all four and just kind of scoot around, and I'd nail down what I felt like I had to, and then I'd come back down that ladder.
Well, and then it has been, when my grandparents passed away, we sold basically all the equipment and all the stuff. So we were kind of in a place when we bought the farm where we weren't going to farm. It cost us $500,000 just to get ready to have cows again. So that was kind of out of the picture. We rent the farm to our neighbor to grow crops on. So this farm was just sitting here, and I'm looking at it going, we could do something with this place. And I told Stella, I want to make an event barn out of the barn down there. And she was like, absolutely not. Like, she's like, not now, just wait a year or two. Like, we just bought the farm. And I kind of had piddled, but then that coincided with COVID.
Oh yeah.
So I was working from home, and I just kind of took off with it, and she just shook her head. But over the course of that next year, we kind of transformed it. We cut half of the loft out. I'll never forget the day you showed up, and I was up there with a skill saw going across the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
And
I thought, what in the world?
I mean, I knew exactly. I could see it in my head, and I had it drawn on paper. I knew exactly what I wanted this place to look like. And I say this, that it looks exactly how I had it pictured. So I knew where I was headed, and I knew how to. I didn't necessarily know I'd get there, but I knew what I wanted to look like. So just kind of got after it. And we spent that cold ass winter in here.
It was cold.
Putting, I don't know how many Craftsman cordless batteries I burned up, and but we bought poplar from over where Granddad grew up. We bought
Rosetta area.
Over at Rosetta at Dents Bridge from the Amish, from Lambrights. I don't know how many board feet that I ended up buying. It was a bunch.
Better than you had.
Yeah, and then I had to get more. They had to cut me more, but put a whole new floor in. Tried to reinforce things and brace it up. We ran plumbing out here. My cousin Mike helped us get bathrooms in it.
And he don't show up to do anything till about 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it was. So those were late nights.
Yeah.
But we tried to reclaim as much stuff as possible. All the wood that we took out, we reused. We've actually got barn lumber from family farms around the area. Like I can tell you, there's wood over here from a barn from the Van Laar farm where it caught on fire, and it's dark and you can see it. I've got some from Hired King's farm back there. I've got lots of. My grandmother was an archivist, so I've got lots of old family heirlooms from the Hintons and Floods that nobody had a place for. So it's kind of like one part museum, one part venue, one part I don't know man cave. But it has over the last 5 years now, which is hard to believe. This will be the seventh Ramble, the seventh Ramble we've had. I remember the first one we had, I thought I could really lose a lot of money and this is not going to go well. But every year it's gotten bigger and better. You all continue to come out here and hang out with us. I think the artists feel like that this is a good experience. I try to create a situation that I would want to have as an artist, where you're getting paid what you asked for. You've got a crowd that's sitting in these chairs behind us that's sitting and ready to listen. They're ready to buy your merch. They may not have heard of you before, but they trust me and they trust that it's going to be a great night. We've had lots of people over the years that have helped sponsor it in the community, which is also great because we're in the middle of nowhere. We're in Breckinridge County, Kentucky, Webster, Kentucky.
I wasn't going to tell everybody where we are because you remember we was talking earlier today. We'd like for everybody to see how beautiful it is out here, but we don't want them to move here.
Yeah, we don't want it to become too popular. We want you to visit, and then we want you to go back to wherever you're from.
Yeah.
But it is neat to get people from different states and people from Louisville or Lexington or Nashville or whatever to come here in the middle of nowhere and experience a special night of music. And I feel like we've been able to deliver that every time. Tomorrow we've got Philip Bowen. He's from West Virginia. He's been out playing with Dwight Yoakam this week.
That's good.
It's a lot bigger rooms than this, but maybe not as attentive and not as intimate and special. Rich Henderson, he's from Alabama, North Alabama, Coleman area, former vet, former military, great songwriter, very sincere, excited for everybody to hear him. Lance Rogers, he's got his own podcast too, which I haven't been on yet. We need to get, he needs to bring his old Ford down here and we need to sit and talk in it. Hey, Otis.
Y'all say Otis?
You want to say hi?
Otis is wanting to be a part of it.
Yeah, this is his barn.
He thinks so.
But yeah, tomorrow's going to be special. Country Boy Brewing has always helped us out, and they've been here. We try to get local vendors, food truck people here. We do weddings here. We do 3 or 4 or 5 of those a year. It's just you want to shake my hand? It's become I feel like a fixture in our community, and I don't know. It's a pretty special spot. Have you got some good stories about the barn from when you were a kid?
There's one in particular. Back when I was a kid, there used to be a show that come on TV called Lost in Space. And they had monsters on it. And of course, I'd watch it and kind of go, it's terrible. And then Dad would be working late shift that day. And Mom said, hadn't you better go down and go ahead and feed the cows? I go, oh, man. They had one light bulb in this whole loft. And you know how cows make noise bumping around and doing stuff. I'd come down here after watching the monster and I'd feed just as quick as I could. And once I got done, I'd flip the light switch and run to the house. Mom said, "Did you get them fed?" Yep, they're done.
He kind of like he was one of those, he could hit the light and be in the bed before it got dark.
Oh yeah. I'm doing that now, basically.
Since we started the barn, we had a wedding one time. And, it's a barn. Like it's like people who want air conditioned, like controlled setting, you're going to snag your dress on the floor or you're going to get your heel caught in a crack in the wood floor. There's birds in here. Like I have to clean messes up all the time. But we had a wedding and it was in August, I think. It was hot. But it was very much a Brett County wedding. It was like camo vest with the hunter orange ties, and you know, my kind of wedding. Probably lots of Busch Light and Miller Light being served. But I got a text that said there's a snake down here, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I came down. I thought, well, there's a black snake, because like again, it's a barn. There's mice, or there's bird nests, and you get snakes, and black snakes are good snakes as long as I don't see them. But I came down here, and there was an old hay fork on a trolley. So there's a rail that goes down the middle of the barn that the trolley operated on, and I look up, and there's like a 6-foot black snake on this trolley right above where the bride and groom were. And there was some drunk guy. He goes, "I pay $1,000 for that son of a bitch to drop right on them." Like, they were really cool about it, because I would have asked for my deposit back. But it's that's also the neat thing about it. It is very much it's an agritourism site. This shows you, if you're in here and you look at the ceiling, the craftsmanship. They used the rafters are 4 by 1 inch laminated oak boards that were cut green and nailed together. They nailed 4 of them together, and they bent them in a curve. And there's braces on there, but that brace was to hold the curve while the wood cured. And like you break bits trying to drill a hole in this thing.
This thing's tough.
But this was done in 1915, and there was no cranes here in Webster, and there was no bulldozers, or they probably didn't have a tractor, and they put a rope on it, and they got a team of mules, and they raised it up.
Yeah,
and a good old fashioned barn raising. But if you look at it, we've had multiple tornadoes come through here, notably the '78 tornado that destroyed a whole city near us. There's one barn 2 miles away that has been destroyed twice in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
While this one has just sit here. So
I believe she's pretty sturdy.
I think so. Also, they use chains. Everything was to mark the distance. So they'd use an 8-foot chain, and that's how you could take an 8-foot measure and go in every direction, and every post was exactly on center.
There's a bunch of them.
There was a bunch of posts. We got rid of a bunch of stuff. If you have any questions about the Randall Barn, or if you're interested in renting this facility or coming out to a show, we do 2 a year. We do one on Oaks Day. We're already planning the one for 2026. It's on May 1st. If you're not familiar with Kentucky, Oaks Day is the day before Derby Day. So that's a big deal in Kentucky. But as Kentuckians, we try to stay the hell away from Louisville during Derby season. So we have a party here on that Friday night, and then we usually have one in the fall. This year it's in September. Usually it's in October. But you can go to joshmitchum.com. It's got links to the Randall Barn's Facebook page. You can also find it on Facebook and Instagram. But it's a neat place, Pappy.
Oh,
I'm glad you didn't talk me out of it.
Did I try?
I think you told me that I was crazy, and that it was probably a terrible idea.
But I said, you've got the same mother that I have as a wife, and sometimes crazy just don't go very far.
It's a short trip.
I tell Linda that all the time.
Well, so hopefully we'll see you. This will air on Friday the 19th. Hopefully we'll see you tonight at the show.
Yeah.
As a recording of this, we still have some tickets available. Show up. We'll take your money and we'll let you in. Bring a chair, bring your own cooler, and most importantly, bring a friend with you.
Come sit down and talk to us. We enjoy visiting with our friends and kinfolk.
Yep.
They're all good. So we're going to be here with our party hats on, I reckon.
Well, we'll see what happens. Guys, thank y'all so much for this special edition of Every Damn Friday with Pappy, talking about the Randall Barn. So hopefully we'll see him at the show tomorrow, Dad.
I'll be here.
All right. We'll see y'all later.
Good night.